Well, it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. He says, "Son, can you play me a melody? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes." And we're live. There's nobody here, so I'm singing to myself. Singing for my supper to myself. Welcome to Saturday Super Movie Chat. How are you, friends? I'm talking to the future audience. I'm talking to you in the future when you're watching this on the replay. How was your weekend? How are things going? We're joined once more by our co-host, channel dog Sadie. Just had her bath. She's very happy and very clean. You'll be happy to know that she did not leave a ring on the tub, or rather the shower floor, like she did last time. And you'll be doubly happy to know that she is still not embarrassed about it, whether she leaves a ring or not. What's that about? We need to shout out Riff Magos, who joined at the Valentine level. And while we wait for people to shuffle in, I suppose we could read off some comments, answer some comments. Let's see what we got here. Marco watched the last video and said, "I did a great job as always." I appreciate you, Marco. And I'm glad you watched the replays. Troy Nov 1965 says, "My dad always spelled bastard bastard." That is because it was a comment on a video entitled "A Tribute to Hosea's Raven Blackshire, the Unruly Bastard" in Red Dead Redemption 2. And I spelled bastard with an E, like Inglourious Bastards. It's basically a Quentin Tarantino reference that nobody really gets. Momo, I believe Momo from the chats, Momo the Fifadil, says, "Hello, Super Antonio. Congrats. I hope you reach 20K soon." That was from a community post where we had the subs were at 17,777. And I entitled it Lucky Number 7. Thank you, friends. And we're not there. We're like at 1780 something now. But yeah, I was happy about that. We got a long comment on finding a piebald Tobiah Hungarian half-bred at Arthur's favorite bounty hunter camp, where someone figured out, his name is Kramkiv Mar 6203, and he figured out how to get it through the Uncle mission in Chapter 3. And get one from a bounty hunter. And he writes, "I think there's a guaranteed way to get this horse. I was eyeing on this horse and tried like the videos in white YouTube, but no luck. But at the end of Chapter 2, when Cromwell comes for Dutch and Valentine, Ramon Sanchez is here." Greetings, Ramon. It's just you and me tonight, friend. But at the end of Chapter 2 tonight, when Cromwell comes for Dutch and Valentine, his aide have this horse, but he leaves in the cutscene, no chance there. I think it's English as a second language. During Chapter 3, the Molly mission, where Uncle interrupts, we go rob a wagon with Uncle, Charles and Bill. There, where we hide at the barn, there will be a big fight at night. There is an enemy with this horse. When you kill him, it runs off, and after that, the horse can be mounted and start feeding in the middle of the fight. And somehow I finished the mission without dying, and after the cutscene, The horse was showing the map as my temporary horse. Lucky me. Mounted it and ran to the stable. I think there may be a better way to get it if someone tried with trial and error to make a video on how to get the piebald tail piano for sure in chapter 3. Good luck, guys. I hope it was somehow helpful. Yeah, I have a video on that exploit somewhere in the channel, but I usually use the bounty hunter camp. Yeah, I don't know where everyone is, Ramon. That is the dilemma of the YouTube live stream audience. It's fickle. It vanishes like a gambler's lucky streak. To quote Ella Fitzgerald. I'm just reading comments that I don't respond to comments anymore. I should, but I'm just like scrolling through comments and seeing if we can. Sometimes I will respond to them on live streams while we wait for everyone to roll in. Game Raptor 16 commented on Gravity Works Different at Emerald Ranch in Red Dead Redemption 2. And he said, yeah, Emerald Ranch is just different. Ask the Aberdeen pig farmers. I suppose so. I see what you're doing there, friend. And San Calf Chobi 6629 commented on a Bodicea video. Ramon says, well, sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not. Yeah. What can you do? We'll hang out for a bit, see if anybody shows up. From stats perspective, I believe Arthur would have a horse which has a kind of balanced stats of health, stamina, and speed. Two breeds come to mind, Turkman and Missouri Foxtrotter. Turkman have best health stat, which might be suitable for gunfights and having respectable speed and stamina. Missouri Foxtrotter being faster with more stamina than Turkman, but frailer, although still respectable health. Both of them are brave horses when in combat. From a stat perspective, Rose Bay or Black Arabian could also be considered, but I don't think Arthur would ride the same breed as Dutch. It would be better if Dutch's was the unique breed from the gang perspective. Well, I'm pretty sure Bodicea is the liver chestnut Hungarian half-bred, which we have some videos of. I believe that has been proven. Tonight we will be discussing The Joker from 2019, and I have a slideshow that I will show you. As always, I can't go full screen because we don't own the licensing issues. There's also screen grabs from other Jokers that I like. Heath Ledger's in there, of course, and Cesar Romero. And some screen captures from the latest Joker trailer for Joker Part 2, Folie à Dieu, which means literally madness of two. And it stars Joaquin and Lady Gaga. But the interesting thing, they're both patients at Arkham Asylum. It doesn't look like Lady Gaga or it doesn't look like Harleen Quinn is his psychiatrist anymore, or his psychologist. Looks like she's a patient too. So there's these very elaborate musical numbers, but you have to assume it's all in their heads because they're crazy. They're unreliable narrators. Okay, 2 viewers in the chat. Let's get this started. We'll do it for the reviews. Joker is a 2019 American psychological thriller film, directed and co-produced by Todd Phillips. He did Road Trip, Old School, Starsky and Hutch, and School for Scoundrels. So he's basically a comedy director. From a screenplay he wrote with Scott Silver, the film, loosely based on DC Comics characters, stars Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Set in 1981, it follows Arthur Fleck, a failed clown and aspiring stand-up comedian, whose descent into mental illness and nihilism inspires a violent countercultural revolution against the wealthy in a decaying Gotham City. Robert De Niro, Zazie Beetz, and Frances Conroy appear in supporting roles. Frances Conroy, you may recall from American Horror Story. She plays a lot of different characters there. Zazie Beetz, I've always liked that name, Zazie, but Frances Conroy was also in 6 Feet Under from HBO. I like that show. Hold on. O-Dog is here. Greetings, O-Dog. Appreciate you, friend. Thanks. It's always good to have a mod in the chat to control all these unruly bastards. All 3 of them. Batzaro says, howdy. Greetings, Batzaro. We are discussing Joker, the film, tonight, but I included all the Jokers that I like in addition to the Joker in question. David says, hey guys, we are at my brother's 50th birthday party. We will not be in chat. No worries, David. Appreciate you checking in, as always. And Hildoc says, party light, Davy boy. Yes, indeed. Moving on. Distributed by Warner Brothers. That we don't care about that. Phillips conceived Joker in 2016 and wrote the script with Silver throughout 2017. The two were inspired by 1970s character studies and the films of Martin Scorsese, in particular Taxi Driver from 1976 and The King of Comedy from 1982. Scorsese was initially attached to the project as a producer. The film loosely adapts plot elements from Batman the Killing Joke and The Dark Knight Returns, but Phillips and Silver did not look for specific comics for inspiration, nor did he wish it to be connected to any prior Batman film continuity. Phoenix became attached in February 2018 and was cast in that July, while the majority of the cast signed on by August. Principal photography took place in New York City, Jersey City, and Newark. And David is checking out. Appreciate you being here, friend. You have a great weekend. And give my love to Chrissy. Joker is the first live-action theatrical Batman film to receive an R rating from the Motion Picture Association. I didn't realize that. Joker premiered at the 78th Venice International Film Festival in 2019, where it won the Golden Lion, the Lion d'Or, and was theatrically released in the United States on October 4th. The film received polarizing reviews from critics, with praise directed towards Phillips' direction, the screenplay, Phoenix's performance, musical score, visual style, and cinematography, while the dark tone, portrayal of mental illness, lack of originality, and depiction of violence were more divisive. The film was a box office success and set records for an October release. It grossed over $1 billion, the first R-rated film to do so, and became the 6th highest grossing film of 2019. The film also received numerous accolades, including 2 wins at the 92nd Academy Awards. A sequel, Joker, Folie à Deux, literally Madness of Two, is set to be released on October 4th of this year. Moving on to the plot. Arthur Fleck is a professional clown and aspiring stand-up comedian who lives with his mother, Penny, in crime-ridden Gotham City in the early 1980s recession. He suffers from a neurological disorder that causes him to have random, uncontrollable laughing fits, requiring medication for which he depends on social services to obtain. After Arthur is attacked by street urchins, his co-worker Randall gives him a revolver for self-defense. Arthur pursues a relationship with his neighbor, single mother Sophie, and invites her to see his routine at a comedy club. Arthur is fired from his job when he accidentally exposes the gun while performing at a children's hospital, despite his explanation that was given to him by Randall, who denies this. While riding home on the subway, sad due to his dismissal, and still wearing his clown makeup, Arthur is mocked and assaulted by three drunk businessmen from Wayne Investments. While the latter tried to harass a woman, he fatally shoots two of them in self-defense and murders the third as he attempts to flee. The killings are condemned by their employer, billionaire mayoral candidate Thomas Wayne, but protesters began donning clown masks in Arthur's image. Odog says, I need to watch all the Batman movies. Yeah, I really need to get the trilogy, the Christopher Nolan trilogy, Odog. Those are my favorite Batmans. Budget cuts shut down the social service program, leaving Arthur without his medication. Sophie attends Arthur's stand-up routine, which goes poorly. He laughs uncontrollably as his jokes fall flat. Arthur intercepts a letter from Penny to Thomas, alleging that he is Thomas's illegitimate son, and berates his mother for hiding the truth. He goes to Wayne Manor, where he meets Thomas's young son, Bruce. But after a scuffle with a family butler, Alfred Pennyworth, Penny suffers a stroke and is hospitalized. But flees after a scuffle with family butler Alfred Pennyworth. Penny suffers a stroke and is hospitalized. Arthur's idol, popular late-night show host Murray Franklin, played by Robert De Niro, presents clips of Arthur's failed performance on his show and mockingly calls him a joker. So, two things. The way that they're canonically tying in this movie to the Batman universe is this Joker inspires our Joker. So he's not really the Joker. He's a Joker. Arthur confronts Thomas at a film theater. Thomas lets him know that he is not his father and Penny is not his biological mother. Arthur laughs, but Thomas is furious and punches him in the mouth, threatening Arthur if he meets Bruce again. In denial, Arthur visits Arkham State Hospital and reads Penny's file, which states she was a delusional narcissist who adopted Arthur while working as a housekeeper for the Waynes in the 1950s. Penny then raised Arthur with her abusive boyfriend, who later died in jail. Penny was sent to Arkham for allowing the abuse. Distraught, Arthur enters Sophie's apartment unannounced. Frightened, Sophie asks him to leave, revealing the relationship to be a figment of Arthur's imagination. An unreliable narrator. The following day, Arthur smothers Penny to death with a pillow at the hospital. Arthur is later invited to appear on Murray's show. He subsequently plans to cancel himself with his revolver during the broadcast. While crafting a clown-inspired persona, he is visited by Randall and another ex-colleague. Gary. Arthur fatally stabs Randall but spares Gary for being kind to him in the past. Two detectives investigating Arthur's involvement in the murders of the businessmen pursue him onto a subway filled with clown protesters. Arthur incites a brawl during which one detective shoots and kills a protester. The other protesters, in turn, beat the detectives while Arthur escapes. At the studio, Arthur asks Murray to introduce him as Joker, a reference to his earlier mockery. As the show goes live, Arthur forcefully kisses a guest, tells morbid jokes, confesses to the subway murders, rants about how society abandons the downtrodden and mentally ill, and berates Murray for ridiculing him. After a final joke, Arthur fatally shoots Murray in the head and the chest on air. He is arrested, and riots erupt across the city. Rioters in an ambulance crash into the police car carrying Arthur and free him. Meanwhile, a rioter corners the Wayne family in an alley and cancels Thomas and his wife, sparing Bruce and creating the Batman. Arthur stands atop the police car, starts to dance to the cheers of the crowd, and smears blood on his face in the shape of a smile. Put on a happy face. At Arkham, Arthur laughs to himself about a joke while his new therapist, with this new therapist, but declines to tell it to her, claiming she would not understand it. After singing, he leaves behind a trail of bloodied shoe prints as he is chased down a corridor by an orderly. And I should have had this set up, but I wanted to do a reading of that final monologue. So let me see if I can find it. Bear with me. Technical difficulties. 4 viewers in the chat. Thanks for being here. Here it is. I killed those 3 Wall Street guys. Audiences gasps and murmurs. Murray says, okay, I'm waiting for the punchline. There is no punchline. It's not a joke. You're serious, aren't you? You're telling us you killed those 3 young men on the subway. Mm-hmm. And why should we believe you? I ain't got nothing left to lose. Nothing can hurt me anymore. My life is nothing but a comedy. Let me get this straight. You think killing those guys is funny? I do, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. Comedy is subjective, Murray. Isn't that what they say? All of you, the system that knows so much, you decide what's right and wrong, the same way you decide what's funny or not. Okay, I think I might understand that did this start a movement to become a symbol? Come on, Murray, do I look like the kind of clown that could start a movement? I killed those guys because they were awful. Everybody is awful these days. It's enough to make anyone crazy. Okay, so that's it. You're crazy. That's your defense for killing those 3 young men. Nah, they couldn't carry a tune to save their lives. Oh, why is everybody so upset about these guys? If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me. I pass you every day and you don't notice me. But these guys, what? Because Thomas Wayne went and cried about them on TV? You have a problem with Thomas Wayne too? Yes, I do. Have you seen what it's like out there, Murray? Do you ever leave the studio? Everybody just yells and screams at each other. Nobody's civil anymore. Nobody thinks what it's like to be the other guy. You think men like Thomas Wayne ever think what it's like to be someone like me? To be someone but themselves? They don't. They think we'll just sit there and take it like good little boys, that we won't werewolf and go wild. You finished? I mean, it's so much self-pity, Arthur. You sound like you're making it difficult for you sound like you're making excuses for killing those young men. Not everybody, and I'll tell you this, not everyone is awful. You're awful, Murray. Me, I'm awful. Oh yeah? How am I awful? Playing my video, inviting me on the show. You wanted to make fun of me. You're just like the rest of them. You don't know the first thing about me, pal. Look what happened because of what you did, what it led to. There are riots out there. 2 policemen are in critical condition, and you're laughing. You're laughing. Someone was killed today because of what you did. I know. How about another joke, Murray? No, I think we've had enough of your jokes. What do you get? I don't think so. When you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash. Call the police, Gene. Call the police. I'll tell you what you get. You get what you fucking deserve. And at that point, Arthur pew-pews Murray in the head. Very referential to a movie that Robert De Niro did in I believe the 80s called The King of Comedy, where he played a failed comedian who kidnaps a popular talk show host played by let's look that up. The King of Comedy. It's from 1982. Played by Jerry Lewis. So he kidnaps Jerry Lewis. But he he doesn't cancel him, as I recall. Spoiler alert for a movie from 1982. Moving on to the cast, Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, the Joker, a mentally ill, impoverished party clown and stand-up comedian disregarded by society, whose history of abuse causes him to become a nihilistic criminal with a clown-inspired persona. Dominic says, "First time I've ever heard you curse." Well, it's Saturday, and we're talking about a movie, and I was quoting the Joker. So really, it was the Joker cursing Dominic, and I apologize. Phoenix had been interested in a low-budget character study of a comic book character and said the film feels unique. It's in its own world in some ways, and maybe it might as well be the thing that scares you the most. Phoenix lost 52 pounds for his role in the film. Robert De Niro as Murray Franklin, a talk show host who plays a role in Arthur's downfall. De Niro says his role in Joker plays homage to his character from The King of Comedy, Rupert Pupkin, who is a comedian obsessed with a talk show host. Papa One is here. Greetings, Papa One. That means Mama One is not far behind, and there she is. Welcome, Mama One. Everyone say hello to Papa One and Mama One. Just talking about the Joker tonight. O-Dog is somewhere. David is at a party for his brother, so he's not here tonight. But I'm glad you two are. Zazie Beetz as Sophie Dumond, a cynical single mother and Arthur's love interest. Beetz, a huge fan of Phoenix, said it was an honor to co-star with him and that she learned a lot working with him on set. And Frances Conroy as Penny Fleck, Arthur's mentally and physically ill mother, who formerly worked for Thomas Wayne. And Mama One says, "Sorry we had late. We had a long day. We had 2 other foals born today." Oh, that's nice to hear. I hope they're doing well. Moving on to development. Between 2014 and 2015, Joaquin Phoenix expressed interest to his agent in acting in a low-budget character study type of film about a comic book villain like DC Comics character the Joker. Phoenix had thought of the idea 1 to 2 years before Phillips ever conceived of Joker in 2016. Phoenix had previously declined to act in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because he would have been required to reprise a role, such as the Hulk, initially portrayed by Edward Norton, before he was recast by Mark Ruffalo, or Doctor Strange, ultimately portrayed by Benedict Cumberbatch in multiple films. Phoenix ruled out the Joker for his character study idea and tried to think of a different one. "I thought, you can't do the Joker because, it's just you can't do that character. It's just been done." Phoenix's agent suggested setting up an exploratory meeting with Warner Brothers, but he declined and let go of the idea. Similarly, Todd Phillips had been offered to direct comic-based films a number of times, but declined because he thought they were loud and did not interest him. According to Phillips, Joker was created from his idea to create a different, more grounded comic book film. He was attracted to the Joker because he did not think there was a definitive portrayal of the character, which he knew would provide considerable creative freedom. I would agree. There hasn't been a definitive... Well, my favorite Joker, of course, is Christopher Nolan's Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker. But there hasn't been a definitive Joker movie. Phillips pitched the idea for Joker to Warner Brothers after his film War Dogs premiered in August 2016. Prior to War Dogs, Phillips was mostly known for his comedy films such as Road Trip, Old School, and The Hangover. War Dogs marked a venture into more unsettling territory. During the premiere, Phillips realized War Dogs wasn't going to set the world on fire, and I was thinking, what do people really want to see? In addition, he found that it was difficult to make a comedy film in the woke culture throughout opposition of 30 million people on Twitter. Yes, that's true. He finally thought that how I do something irreverent, but this is for you, Dominic, F comedy. Oh, I know. Let's take the comic book movie universe and turn it on its head with this. He proposed that DC film differentiate its slate from the competing Marvel Studios by producing low-budget standalone films. After the success of Wonder Woman in 2017, DC Films decided to de-emphasize the shared nature of its DC-based film franchise, the DC Extended Universe, which is called the DCEU. According to Kim Masters of The Hollywood Reporter, Jared Leto, who had played the Joker in the DCEU, was displeased by the existence of a project separate from his interpretation. Of course he would be. In October 29, Masters reported that Leto felt alienated and upset when he learned that Warner Brothers, which had promised him a standalone DCEU Joker film, let Phillips proceed with Joker, going as far as to ask his music manager to get the project canceled. Masters added that Leto's irritation was what caused him to end his association with the Creative Artists Agency, as he believed his agents should have told him about the Phillips project earlier and fought harder for his version of the Joker. He's my least favorite Joker. Warner Brothers pushed for Phillips to cast Leonardo DiCaprio as the Joker, hoping to use his frequent collaborator Scorsese's involvement to attract him. However, Phillips said that Phoenix was the only actor he ever considered, and thought he and Silver wrote the script with Phoenix in mind. The goal was never to introduce Joaquin Phoenix into the comic book movie universe. The goal was to introduce comic book movies into the Joaquin Phoenix universe. Phoenix said when he learned of the film, he became excited because it was the kind he was looking to make, describing it as unique and stating it did not feel like a typical studio movie. It took him some time to commit to the role as it intimidated him, and he said oftentimes in these movies we have simplified, reductive archetypes that allows for the audience to be distant from the character, just like we would do in real life, where it's easy to label somebody as evil and therefore say, well, I'm not that. So I brought Sadie up for you, Mama One. She had her bath tonight. She wasn't as dirty as last week, which I was happy about. But yes, she's very tired and she's very clean and she's very soft. On writing, I have a quote from Todd Phillips, the director. It was a year-long process from when we finished the script to get the new people on board with this vision, because I pitched it to an entirely different team that made it. There were emails about it. You realize we sell Joker pajamas at Target. There were a zillion hurdles, and you just had to sort of navigate those one at a time. At the time, I would curse them in my head every day, but then I have to put it in perspective and go, they're pretty bold that they did this. Mama One says, hey, Sadie, and Ramon says, hi, Sadie. See, people are saying hi to you. Tell them to like and subscribe. 9 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. The script draws inspiration from Scorsese's films such as Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and The King of Comedy, as well as Phillips' Hangover trilogy. Other films Phillips has cited as inspiration include character studies released in the 70s, such as Serpico, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the silent film The Man Who Laughs. I have a picture from The Man Who Laughs in this slideshow somewhere. And he is cited as one of Bob Kane's inspirations for the original vision of the Joker. Miko Herbtile has arrived and says, hello, Super Antonio and Sadie. Hello, mods. Good day, everyone. Good day to you, Miko. Glad you're here, friend. We're just kind of talking about the Joker. Where are we? I lost my place. Thank you, Miko. Phillips said that aside from the tone, he did not consider Joker that different from his previous work, such as the Hangover films. The film's premise was inspired by Alan Moore and Brian Bolland's graphic novel Batman the Killing Joke, which depicts the Joker as a failed stand-up comedian, while the climactic talk show scene was inspired by a similar scene in Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. However, Phillips said that the film does not follow anything from the comic books. That's what was interesting to me. We're not even doing Joker, but the story of becoming Joker. Phillips later clarified that he meant that they did not look into a specific comic for inspiration, but rather picked and chose what we liked from the character's history. Having grown up in New York, Phillips also drew inspiration from life in New York City during the early 1980s. The subway shooting scene and its aftermath were inspired by the 1984 New York City subway shooting, while Arthur Fleck is partially based on the shooter's perpetrator, Bernard Goetz. Phillips and Silver found the most common Joker origin story in which the character is disfigured after falling into a vat of acid too unrealistic. Instead, they used certain elements of the Joker lore to produce an original story, which Phillips wanted to feel as authentic as possible. Because the Joker does not have a definitive origin story in the comics, Phillips and Silver were given considerable creative freedom and pushed each other every day to come up with something totally insane. While the Joker had appeared in several films before, Phillips thought it was possible to produce a new story featuring the character. It's just another interpretation, like people do interpretations of Macbeth, he told the New York Times. However, they did try to retain the ambiguous, multiple-choice nature of the Joker's past. Did I ever tell you how I got these scars? Positioning the character as an unreliable narrator whose entire storylines simply being his delusions, and left what mental illnesses he suffers from unclear. As such, Phillips says, the entire film is open to interpretation. It's filmed in New York City, of course. Oh, let's talk about set design for a little bit, because I always love set design, and I do love the look of this movie. Gotham City in Joker was set in the 1980s New York City, according to Todd Phillips, to separate it, quite frankly, from the DC universe. Mark Friedberg, the production designer of the film, said he established the filming location of Gotham Square in Newark as a film set there because there was still poverty. He wanted Gotham to look like a gritty city, as described in Taxi Driver, so he named all the structures and lines in this film and drew a specific map of Gotham City. He displayed 1970s brightly colored muscle cars on the set, conveying a dissonance between being awful and beautiful at the same time. He also tried to describe Gotham as a decaying city through graffiti, garbage on the road, and cracked sidewalks. The VFX team added fictional buildings, changing the skyline of the city to give the sense that the city was pressing down on Arthur. Lawrence Sher said the sodium vapor lights were used in the film, representing Arthur's isolation and his more hopeful side. Arkham State Hospital is based on Arkham Asylum. Warner Brothers Korea has explained that it is a more realistic name in the real world. The exterior of Arkham State Hospital was filmed at Brooklyn Army Terminal, while the interior was pictured in Metropolitan Hospital Center of Harlem. Throughout the film, two walls are shown inside Arkham State Hospital. One is clearly white in the first and last scenes. The other is dirty yellow in the scene in which Arthur runs with a medical report. The difference was intended to make the audience confused and to question the possibility that Arthur had been in the hospital the entire time. What's that about? Unreliable narrators. Character design. One of the most important inspirations for Arthur's behavior came from the Little Tramp in modern times, while his ridiculous movement was inspired by Charlie Chaplin. Arthur's dance was influenced by that of Ray Bolger from The Wizard of Oz, and his gesture of making a smile with two fingers was from the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. In preparation, Phoenix ate a single sparse meal per day for 8 months, losing 52 pounds. That's how he said he did it. I bet you he just smoked a bunch of cigarettes and didn't eat and had a diet of the special medicine gum. But of course they're going to say that. I just ate an apple and smoked a lot of cigarettes. That's Christian Bale's quote from that's how he says he lost all the weight for The Machinist. But in Christian Bale's case, because he's like such a method actor and so intense, I tend to believe him. But there's the man who laughs. Conrad Veidt. He was in Casablanca. He played Major Strasser. 52 pounds to look wolf-like and malnourished and hungry, and watched videos of people suffering from pathological laughter to refine his own laughter for the role. He sought to portray a character whom audiences could relate to and not look to previous Jokers for actors for inspiration. Instead, he read a book about political assassinations so he could understand killers and their motivations. Phillips identified Arthur's normal face as being his real mask, while the Joker served as his true personality. He also identified the genuine laugh occurring only in the last scene. Director Todd Phillips said that he intentionally left it ambiguous as to whether Arthur becomes the Joker of the traditional Batman stories or inspires a separate character, although Phoenix believes that Arthur is the former. Dominic asks, what kind of a breed is Sadie? She is half pit bull and half Labrador and half something else. I forget what. Oh, German Shepherd. She's just a mix, but she's mostly pit bull. After turning Arthur into Joker, moving on to costume design, his design was also changed. His hair was dyed broccoli green, and he wore a suit similar to one in the original Batman series. However, the Joker suit in this film had different colors compared to previous films' purple suit with a green or yellow shirt. Mark Bridges noted that it was a result of Phillips's intention to not want to be connected to anything else. Initially, the color of the suit in the script was set to be terracotta, but Bridges changed this to red to give a more expressive emotion. Additionally, his suit colors, green, yellow, purple, and red, were contrasted with those of his antagonists, including Thomas Wayne, giving them to gray and blue, like Batman. Clown makeup was drawn with a classic antique feel, with darker colors and tones and menacing eyebrows. Due to copyright laws stating that no two clowns can look alike, that's interesting, Lederman faced a challenge. Ramon Sanchez says 3 halves make 1.5 dogs. Well, yeah, she eats as much as 1.5 dogs. She doesn't. I won't let her. Moving on to reception and the critical response, 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. Joker gives its infamous central character a chillingly plausible origin story that serves as a brilliant showcase for its star and a dark evolution for comics-inspired cinema. Mark Kermode of The Observer rated the film 4 out of 5 stars, stating that Joker has an ace card, I see what you did there, Mark, in the form of Joaquin Phoenix's mesmerizingly physical portrayal of a man who would be king. Writing for IGN, Jim Vejvoda gave Joker a perfect score, saying the film would work just as well as an engrossing character study without any of its DC Comics trappings. That it just so happens to be a brilliant Batman universe movie is icing on the Batfan cake. I'd agree with that. Similarly, Zan Brooks of The Observer, who also gave the film a perfect score, called it a gloriously daring and explosive, and appreciated how Phillips used elements from Scorsese's films to create an original story. Variety's Owen Gleiberman wrote, Phoenix is astonishing as a mentally ill geek who became the killer clown Joker in Todd Phillips' Neo-Taxi Driver Knockout, the rare comic book movie that expresses what's happening in the real world. But Zaro says, Joker or not, I want his suit. David Ehrlich of IndieWire was more mixed and gave the film a C+. He felt that while Joker is the boldest and most exciting superhero movie since The Dark Knight, it was also incendiary, confused, and potentially toxic. Ehrlich thought that the film would make DC fans happy and praised Phoenix's performance, but criticized Phillips' direction and lack of originality. A critical review came from Glenn Kenny of RogerEbert.com, who gave the film 2 stars out of 4. Though he praised the performances and thought the story worked, Kenny criticized the social commentary and Phillips's direction, finding the film too derivative and believing its focus was less in entertainment than in generating self-importance. There are a lot of negative reviews. Stephanie Zacharek of Time says labeled Phoenix's performance over the top and felt that while Phillips tried to give us a movie about the emptiness of our culture, he's just offering a prime example of it. She argued that the plot was non-existent, dark, only in a stupid adolescent way, and stuffed with phony philosophy. Well, I do like the alliteration, Stephanie. I don't agree with it. Dominic, what's your question? NPR's Glenn Weldon thought the film lacked innovation and said its sympathetic take on the Joker was wildly unconvincing and mundanely uninteresting. Weldon also described the Joker as trying too hard to deviate from the comics and as a result coming off as an imitation of films like Taxi Driver. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian called it the most disappointing film of the year. Geez, Peter. While praising Phoenix's performance in the first act, he criticized the film's political plot developments and overall found it too derivative of various Scorsese films. Well, he won an Oscar and the Golden Lion. In September of 2019, Joker was awarded the Golden Lion, the film's highest prize at the 76th Venice International Film Festival, and at the 92nd Academy Awards. The film won Best Actor for Joaquin Phoenix and Best Original Score. It also received 11 nominations for Best Picture, breaking the record of 8 held by The Dark Knight. What won that year for Best Picture? Let's look it up. Best Picture Oscar 2019. Green Book. I don't even know what that's about. Oh, yeah, I know. I know what that's about, and I can't really talk about it on screen, on YouTube, because you're only allowed to have one opinion on this platform. And that, my friends, Levi the Gamer says, hello everyone. Greetings, Levi. That, my friends, is what I have to say about the Joker tonight. Actually, hold on. No, I don't want to talk about they talk about the themes and analysis of mental illness, but I don't want to talk about that because I don't think the algorithm would like it. Levi the Gamer says, the Joker kind of scared me as a kid. I don't know why. Perhaps you suffer from coulrophobia, the fear of clowns. What's that about? Ramon Sanchez says, I like the Phoenix's performance, but I thought the world of the film was not as well thought out as the Joker character. Again, I believe that it was inspired by Taxi Driver, and it was a very Martin Scorsese film. And if you like Martin Scorsese from the 70s, you would love this film. And if you like Martin Scorsese and if you like Batman, you'd love this film. He did a great job. I do appreciate Heath Ledger more. Heath Ledger has to be my favorite Joker, just because it works so well in the Batman universe. And I think so far, at least, Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy is my favorite. Of course, I'm very sentimental about Batman 66 and of course Tim Burton's, Batman 89, but that Danny Elfman soundtrack. And I really like that. That was Dwight from The Joker. Dwight from The Office when he dressed up as the Joker for one of the Halloween episodes. Why so serious? How is everyone tonight? I am glad you're here. There was no one here when we started, so I sang some Billy Joel. Singing for my supper. Ramon Sanchez says Heath Ledger was the best Joker. Ramon, you, my friend, are the best Joker. But you're too serious. And what was I going to say? Mama One, what's for dinner? What was dinner? I went to the Cheesecake Factory. You'd be happy to know. I had a bacon cheddar cheeseburger with barbecue sauce and French fries and a Diet Coke. But I only ate half. I only ever eat half of the burgers. But, the burgers used to be like the size of a plate. They were huge. But, of course, with shrinkflation, they're like the size of a standard burger. So it really, it's like before when I would cut the burger in half, you would still get like super full. And now it just felt like I was eating half a burger. But, that's what I do. I love Cheesecake Factory hamburgers. I love the meat that they use. They're using Angus beef, I believe. And I really love the buns. Put on a happy face. Papa One says, I love this movie. It is something that could really happen. People treat others horribly, never knowing what is in the other person's mind. People used to mock me for PTSD, saying I was weak. Well, nobody here mocks you, Papa One. Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor. He fully immerses himself in the role, whatever role he has. And I love Lady Gaga. I think she's doing quite well. She's got a great career. She reminds me of Barbara Streisand just in terms of a career track, starting out as a pop singer and being able to make the transfer over into film. Same with Cher. I was always sad that Madonna wasn't able to do it. I don't know why, except that she's a horrible actress. She's very wooden. But I joke with my sister all the time that Madonna must be so jealous of Lady Gaga. Poor thing. Mama One says dinner was roast beef, rice and gravy, lima beans, turnip greens, steamed broccoli, cauliflower, and squash. Dessert was a homemade strawberry cheesecake. And Mama One continues, and sauteed onions and mushrooms, not on the cheesecake, however. Mama One, you always make the best dinners. I'm inspired and jealous. Envious. I don't really get jealous. That is an empty emotion. A useless emotion. And then Jack Nicholson's Joker was just smooth and slick. From Tim Burton's Batman 89, with Michael Keaton. I feel that movie hasn't aged well. I haven't seen it recently. But Tim Burton's Batman. But I believe they, just like Batman 66, it belongs to a certain time, the 80s. I did love Tim Burton or Danny Elfman's soundtrack. Dominic, yes, what's your question? Papa One says, the farm dogs ate well tonight. They come running from miles away when we ring the bell on the side of the porch. They know what that bell means, Papa One. It's chow time. Yeah, I took home half a hamburger and French fries, and I gave Sadie a little piece of the hamburger and some French fries. Mama One says, "Is Serena doing better?" I do not know, Mama One. David was talking to her, and said that she may be coming home this week. So she may have come home. If you want, you can email me at red. Is it Red Super Antonio or Red Dead Super Antonio? Hold on a second. Let me look it up. My Gmail, I believe, is Red Dead Super Antonio. But let me check. Yes, my Twitter is Red Super Antonio, but my Gmail is Red Dead Super Antonio, all one word, at gmail.com. If you want to like send Serena an email, you can just send it to me and I will forward it to Serena. I'm sure she would be happy to hear from you. She I know she holds you in high esteem, and I really, I wish her the best, and have nothing but happy thoughts for her. I don't want to worry. I think worrying is also another useless emotion. Ramon says, I liked Michael Keaton's Batman in the Flash. I didn't see that. I haven't really been watching the modern superhero movies, especially on the DC side. I checked out after Wonder Woman. Never liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I don't like the suits. I don't like the new suits. It's not a symbol for hope. It says S. That stands for Superman. Dominic says, I'm trying to get the Paul Tobiano Hungarian half-bred from the bounty hunter camp, but it won't spawn. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say this, Dominic, but that exploit might be patched because I haven't been able to get it to spawn. Your best bet is to rack up a bounty of, just kill a bunch of lawmen and wait for reinforcements to arrive on a Hungarian and grab one of those. Dominic says, not the horse, but the camp. Well, I don't think the camp really works anymore, not in modern versions. Levi the Gamer says, I'm not getting a PC anymore. I will just get a used Windows computer and use Save Wizard for the liver chestnut Hungarian half-bred. I will watch your guide. That's how I did it. It's easy enough. And you can buy like a Windows laptop for like, $150. It's nothing. Ramon says, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine yesterday. It was good, but I like the first two Deadpool movies better. I heard there were a lot of cameos in this new Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm kind of looking forward to Joker Folie à Deux, but I don't know if I'll see it. I just saw Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Tom Cruise. It has Haley Atwell in it as their latest. Oh, Mama One. I wanted to. Do you have deer on your property? Because if you do they naturally shed antlers? Or do you have antlers all over your property? This thing, which is a dog chew that I got off Amazon, cost me $20. And it's like, I would say it's like 8, maybe 12 ounces. Yeah, this is like closer to 12 ounces. But yeah, if you've got deer on your property, you should really think about selling their antlers. Just chop them off into like 8 to like 12-inch lengths. You can sell them for big bucks. And you have to like wash them somehow, spray them with something. Not bleach. But and you have to use a power saw because these things are dense, but I'm sure you know that already. But yeah, she chews on this thing. It lasts forever. That's why I get them. Hop, hop. Hop, hop, hop. Come here. Come here. Come here. Okay. Show the chat how you chew on this thing. No? Levi is working on the legend of the East Satchel, and Dominic says, I could go to the bridge where the O'Driscolls try to rob you. They have their horse, right? No, they do not. They do not. You have to get one from a bounty hunter. I keep saying that the game is, and everyone keeps telling me that Red Dead Redemption is played out, and yet we still get comments and questions. What's that about? Mom One says, yes, we do. They shed antlers periodically. We find some time to time. Sometimes we have a farm dog come to the porch chewing on an antler like a cigar. Yeah, you can sell them on Amazon or eBay to city folk like me who don't like, I don't like leather chew on rawhides. And what I like about these, and I think why they're so expensive, is because they last so long, and because the market will support it. But it comes out to like $6 an ounce. What's that about? So you could sell them. I mean, if you need another additional revenue source, or you could sell them on your channel when you're you could promote them during your cooking videos. Mama One's dog antler chews. Dominic says, I'm surprised he didn't patch the Albert Mason, Missouri Fox glitch. I'm sure they tried. They made it really difficult. They don't want Arthur to have that horse, regrettably. At any rate, friends, that's about all I have for you tonight. Shout out to our mods, Mama One and Papa One and David and O-Dog. Where are you? Betzaro and Ramon and Levi the Gamer and Dominic. Really appreciate you hanging out with me. We shall return tomorrow night for Sinister Sundays. On Sundays we Sinister, where we shall be talking about alien abduction, and in particular the case of Barney and Betty Hill. That one's for you, Mama One. Appreciate all of you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh, and Miko. Thank you, Miko. I forgot to shout you out. Newly minted mod, Miko Herptile. Shout out to the Philippines.